Just want to show you a few little things if you're taking up trout fishing. What sort of gear you'll need and lightweight gear. So we're going to start off with, you can either get the Okuma brand, which is a great, one of the best products you can get hold of for trout fishing in my books anyway. It's all lightweight gear for river fishing. Also good if you can do it out in your boat as well, at lakes and that anyway. But these are the little, this is the little Helios SX, HSX20 reel, and we've got the Pixar 20, and we've got the Inspire ISX20 small reels. They're all filled with Platypus Super 100 line. Then we have the, these are the rods, beautiful little lightweight Okuma Cellulo ultralight spin 1 to 3 kilo rods, just perfectly balanced in the hand. So that's the sort of setup you'll need to start with. And it's not a costly, it's not a real expensive setup either. What else you'll need? Get yourself a little set of digital scales, not very expensive. Maybe take a couple of little AAA batteries or AA batteries in the back of them. Always handy. Weigh your fish in the net if you're going to release it. You get the total weight, and then just once you release the fish, weigh your net and deduct the weight of the net off there, and you'll have your total weight of your fish. If you're going to keep it, well, you can hook it through the fish's mouth and weigh it. Little boomerang zip, little zinger there with a zinger on it there, pinned onto your fishing vest, something else you need if you're going to river fish. And yes, light little line snipper, sharpening stone. I always touch my hooks up out after every 4 or 5 trout I catch, I'll do it. And not only that, even if you don't, if you're river fishing, maybe you got rocks, you're about fast water fishing, your lure's bouncing along on the rocks, so that will take the edge off the hook. So yeah, just give them a little touch up all around the thing. Here we have the that's a little diamond sharpened stone. So yeah, they're a must as well. Little forceps, about $5 a pair or $6 a pair on eBay. A lot easier to put in the fish mouth to unhook the treble out of it instead of a big bulky plier trying to down that, and especially if it's a small fish. You can't get down the straight far enough, you'd fish up killing the fish and damaging it. So, but they're still handy if you want to do some work on your blade spinners, as I'll show you later on here. Pocket knife's always a must if you're going to keep your fish and guts in, and also a pair of Polaroid sunglasses, which is ideal when river fishing, take the glare off the water. So yeah, and that's your Super 100 Platypus line, mono line I use. So that's just a basic setup. Oh, and also a landing net. If you're going to use landing net, get one of these with a clear, big holes in it, a big clear one. It's not as rough on the fish with the scale or the scales, because start knocking the scales around and the slime off a trout. The slime coating on a trout is like a protective covering on the trout, coating on the trout. Which, yeah, otherwise if you start wiping that off, the trout can die. And also remember, if you're handling a trout for a photo, try and just wet your hands first and just try and hold the fish at a comfortable position to have a photo taken. Don't get there like you see a lot of people where they've got the fish like this, hold it around just behind the gills and squeezing the guts out of it. Doesn't do the fish any good at all, especially if you're going to release it, because it might look alright and it'll be a bit funny when you put it back in the water. It will swim away and probably eventually, 9 times out of 10 it will eventually die. So yeah, but that's just a few of them there. I'll just get the camera now and I'll move and I'll give you a close-up view of all this stuff here, and then I'll just show you a few little things with this, what to do with this little anti-kink setup, which is something is a must when you're using blade spinners and very fine line, like only 4-pound main line and a 6-pound leader, stealth leader, Platypus stealth leader. That's about 40 centimetres long, that little there from that, and there's a little size 12 anti-kink, the smallest I can get hold of, with a little 00 snap spool on it, and then just clip it on there. I use a snap spool mainly because trout fishing, if they don't like one lure, you've got to continually change. I can use up to 5 or 6 lures, rotating my Mepps spinners around chasing trout. One minute they'll be on going for a Adrian gold, and then I'll go off that, and then I'll go for a black fury, or they'll go for a bug spinner, and in the end you'll go back and they'll go for the Adrian again, and yeah, they can be a bit of pain in the butt sometimes, trout, but that's all trout. That's what trout fishing is all about. It's the challenge of catching them and stalking them, and yeah, sucking them in. You really got to work their brain. But anyway, we'll get into that shortly. I'll just move the camera now to just give you a closer look. There we go. That's the little Helios SX20 spin reel. And then we have the little Pixar, and then we have the Inspira ISX20B Okuma reel. Beautiful little setups, and yeah, and these are just the other little odds and ends you'll need to get your hands on. So we'll just stop this for a minute. I'll get myself set up, and I'll just show you a few other little tips there. Right, now get myself set up here. Now, here's a few little tips to do with the blade spinner. But something I always do. I'll get this brand new one out here. As you can see on these brand new lures you get, the treble hook, looking at it there, is directly in line with the shaft. Well, what I do, and that's where these little pliers come in handy, I always get them, every hook I do, every treble I use, every lure I use, I get them like this, a little twitch, and just put them off centre. Just a little bit off centre, doesn't have to be a real lot. That, like, as you can see, just like that. And that takes it off centre. And that, the reason I do that with every like I said, every treble hook. Everyone gets twisted on an angle. You can go right or left, whatever suits you. I prefer just to go swing it to the left. So then we have it, little off line. And what that does to me, well, this is my theory anyway, and it's worked. I've always got plenty of trout on it. When the trout comes at it and grabs at it, and that's off centre, bang, first thing it hits is that treble on the side, because it's off centre. And yeah, well, it worked anyway, but that's just one of the tips. And then always, like I said before, even a brand new lure, before I use it hits the water, I'll just get a light touch up, just to make sure that point is very sharp. Because when you've got them in tackle boxes like this here, so you've got all my lures in here, these are the ones I keep hiring, but this is the little tackle box I carry with me with all my variety of Mepps in it for the day. And they're banging around in there, they're all hitting up against like, doesn't take much to take that point off. And fast water fishing, not so much with these bigger blade ones, but these little, there we go. We'll get a little aglia here, and get it off. There we go. Very small little things. What I do, this little aglia here, I put a Black Fury sticker on here. Mepps sent me a few there, and I asked them could they send me a few to try out to put on the aglia spinners, just to see if they make a difference, whether it attract the trout anymore or not. And they seem to do the job, but the aglia spin itself without it still does a brilliant job. But what you can do with the lures in the real fast water, when you cast upstream, bring them down sometime when the water's really building down, you'll have trouble rotating the blade spinner. What you've got to do when spin fishing for trout in fast waters and bring the line down the river, you've got to keep that lure at the same pace or a fraction faster than the water to keep that blade rotating. If you don't, you'll get no blade rotation and it won't attract the trout. There'll be no vibes go out and it won't attract the trout. So what I do with the lure is get it and I'll just give it a squeeze like this, and I flatten the blade out on the inside there because they have a little concave in there, and what that does is gives the blade more water pressure against the blade and it helps to rotate it more. And that's why an Aglia lure, little Aglia spinner, seems to work better in the faster waters than a Black Fury, because this is Black Fury, is a narrower blade, whereas the Aglia, the blade is a bit wider. It's a wider blade, whereas the Aglia is more oval shape. And the wider blade of the Aglia does rotate much better in fast water. Black Fury perfect in slow, medium, fast water runs and near still to very slow flowing water. Your Black Fury's a ripper. I think that's about all. It's just a few little tips. I'll get back to this anti-kink. Like I said, very small one, very small anti-kink, small as you can get. 40 centimetres of line or 16 inches in the old terms. Very small snap spool on the bottom, and then you just put your lure on the base of that. This one here is a little stonefly, bug spinner, that one there. Great little lure. Here we have a brown one. This is a March brown, very similar in colours. Not a lot of difference in colour with those between the two. Then we have these are the fluoro spinners, Aglia fluoro. Then we'll have here the Aglia Furia, another great lure. These are Aglia mooch noyers with a red tag on the tail. Great trout catcher too. Brown trout fluoro, Aglia, rainbow pattern Aglia. Another good little lure early season. These fluoros are the ones perfect for early season, as are this new Aglia E Bright lures. There's a variety of colours in those. Yeah, I think that's about it for now anyway. And they, like I said, they come in all shapes and sizes, you know, from size 00, which is one of the main ones I use in the small town waters and even in the bigger rivers. Size 1s, small streams, and then into the larger rivers, and then they got the size 1. That's as far as I go with my experience. I haven't gone any bigger than size 1 because the rivers I fish I don't need to. But if you're fishing lakes, yeah, go to size 2 and 3 and 4, whatever you want to use. You know, you'll get the depth, you get the bigger blade rotation, sends out more vibes for the trout. So yeah, there's just a few little tips used. And there's another little lot here. They're little Black Fury with the fluoro colours on them. Another good little lure early season in fishing tannin water and even clear water, because you'll need to stimulate the trout. When the water's really icy cold early season, the trout need to be stimulated into taking lures a lot of the time. And if you can get them into that mood, get them aggressive and have a go, you'll finish up with a good feed of fish. That's if you want to keep them. I believe in catch and release now. I've had my days of keeping trout. But yeah, that's about it for now, guys. So yeah, for usual taking up trout fishing, I hope this has been a little bit of help to you. And remember, always remember safety first. Just don't go off on your own and barging into a river, because if you don't know that river, you may not go home, because they can take your feet from under you fast water. Just go with someone who's got a lot of experience if you're going to river fish, and if you do, in the end you'll get the hang of it. You'll get to know where the trout lie. You'll get flat water spots along river banks, behind boulders in the rivers. And if you want to fish a river for starters, yeah, try and get someone to go with you, or walk the riverbank, do not hop in the river. Just cast off the riverbank where you've got a bit of an open gap. Yeah, but don't take any risks. Okay? So, hope that's been some help to you. Thanks for watching, guys. Oh, one more thing, guys. So, the end of this video you've just watched there, there's a photo slideshow. It'll show you the fast water runs that I fish. And if you're a beginner, you don't go into those sort of waters. You'll see the wider rivers, or the rocky riverbanks, it's quite safe to walk along there and flick a line out. You'll still be able to get trout from fishing from those riverbanks. You'll see how I hold a fish and how I release it in there, the proper way of doing it, and how to hold it for a photo. Yeah, and you'll just see a few photos of the trout with the lures in their mouths and what's caught them. For any more info, go to www.tackletactics.com.au. Go to the tips and techniques section there, and you'll find Adrian Webb's trout tips. Go on there, have a goosey gander at that, and I'm sure that you'll find plenty of info in it. So thanks again for watching.